Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Chrissy Monaghan, your host, and today we are joined by Kathryn, a career transformation coach who helps professionals who feel stuck, undervalued, or at a crossroads to find clarity and confidence in what comes next. I'm really excited to explore her perspective as she's one of our Class Business judges. Let's dive into this conversation. Kathryn, it's absolutely amazing to have you here with us today. For everyone that's listening online or watching us on YouTube, tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
So I'm Kathryn. I run a business called The Career Owl. I'm a career transformation coach. So I help clients with CVs, LinkedIn, job search, interview coaching, and career coaching, based in Tamworth in Staffordshire, but support clients across the UK and Europe.
Wow. So how long have you been doing that for?
So my business turns 7 at the beginning of April. So it's a fair while now, which has been amazing. So I've worked with over 900 clients since I've sort of set my business up.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of people. So before we dive into that, what were you doing before?
So I've had various careers over the years. So started off in retail management initially, did that for a number of years whilst I was doing my degree, and then when I left, and then decided actually I wanted a bit of a career change. So then went into HR. So I had a HR career for just over 20 years, working for a whole range of different businesses. From my first one was for a business that did fruit machines, pool tables. And then I've done retailers. I've supported, I worked for DHL for a number of years with their fuel tanker drivers and chemical drivers. And technology businesses, so like a whole host of things. And then obviously I had my son 10 years ago, and had a career break for a couple of years after I had him, and then started my business. So it's a sort of a bit of a whistle stop, changing career pathways, I would say.
So, wow, yeah. So HR, did the HR work lead to you deciding that you wanted to do this? Because obviously you must have had a great deal of experience, obviously working in those types of departments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, sort of whilst I was, obviously you have to do, obviously the disciplinaries and grievances and redundancies and stuff, but the bit I really liked was the bit around sort of helping people find their career pathways, because often, and certainly people within the UK, we're not very good at shouting about what our achievements are. So that was the bit that I really liked to do when I was in my HR roles, and hence why I sort of set my business up.
Walk us through setting the business up, because before we came on live, obviously you were telling me that you set up 1 year before COVID. You didn't have any business experience, I assume.
No.
You've been working with yeah. So, obviously many of our providers are watching this interview. Many of them will have started from scratch. So tell us about your journey starting from scratch.
I really fell into it is probably the best way of describing it. So as I said, obviously I had a career break for a number of years, and at the end of sort of late 2018, I was starting to kind of think I really want to kind of go back into doing something. And I had some family friends who were starting to look for work and were like, I don't know how to articulate myself. So I kind of worked with them, helped them with their CV, helped them with interview prep, and they all got jobs. And I was like, oh, maybe this is an idea I can do. And really just then it kind of organically grew from there. So because I found something that I really love doing. And I think that's really key when it kind of comes to, setting up a business, is you've got to be doing something that you love doing, because you're going to be very much engrossed within it, in terms of, you are obviously the business owner, but you also have to do the marketing, the finance, the, the social media stuff, everything, you are sort of effectively, the master of all trades. So that's, really important to kind of make sure you absolutely love what you do.
So obviously your first clients came from family and friends, people that you knew, and then you realised that they were getting the jobs, so they were getting results, and it was something that you could offer to other people. How did you start promoting your services? Was there a particular platform that you were using, or?
Yeah, so obviously I've set up my website, which really helped. But then also I was then starting using sort of Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So did a lot of research beforehand of where could potential clients be, and then just started talking about what I could do. And it really was more storytelling of obviously what I'd done in my corporate life as well, and how that then related to things. And it just kind of grew from there. And as people were then providing me with testimonials, which is so important to a business, that again kind of really helps. It was that, that know, like, trust bit. People were going, yeah, really like Kathryn and the career hour. So actually then I want to kind of come and work with you. So, and that was kind of really how it sort of went from there.
So who are the types of, I'm just interested, who are the types of people that come to you now looking for support? Are they in like corporate? Are they actually in the jobs now doing the do and looking for new opportunities, or?
Yeah, I have a bit of a mixture, to be honest. I have, obviously those people who are still in employment, who are perhaps now looking for that next opportunity. But I have clients that are, that have been stay-at-home moms who want to kind of go back into employment, or have people that have literally just finished at school and kind of want to then go and get their first job. So it's a whole range of people really that I work with. So, and I'm very inquisitive, so I quite like finding out people's backstories and stuff, because again, that kind of makes them who they are.
I find that really, really interesting, because obviously in the class-based business sector, and I worked in franchising, like I had my own franchise for 9 years. We awarded a lot of franchises for mums, people who basically had their children and then looking for different opportunities. Like you said, either they're going back into work or they're looking for something different through like a franchise or through a license. And I think I know the answer to this, but what's the things that you see that when they're looking to go back in, are they having like an identity crisis? They don't, because I always felt like that when I became like a mum, I was like, who am I anymore? Like, I had a career before. What do I do next? Like, it's that whole, what is it? What do people come for the help for? What do they need?
I think it's depending on obviously how long people have had off as well. I think it's also absolutely, it is around that identity crisis, because you almost forget that actually being mom is still a job. You're having to be, activity planner, you're having to be meal planner, you're having to do the whole host of different activities and things, to keep them up and make sure that they're safe, attend hospital appointments, doctor's appointments, you name it. So actually there's a lot of transferable skills from there, and actually it's then going back and going, and sometimes, with clients that I work with who've had that, it's then, well, what can I go and do? Because actually it's what I did before I had the children may not necessarily fit the family circumstance and stuff where they are now. It's, I want to go and do something, but I don't know how I can then articulate what I did in the past and what I've done recently into my CV, so I can explain how I can then be the right person for the role going forward. So that's often a bit of a balance as well for people.
Because I see a lot of like brilliant, I predominantly work with females, and I see a brilliant people, but they lack the confidence. Something happens in that period where they either finish like working and then become a parent, and then they're looking for their next thing, be it franchise license, or they've gone into employments like they're teachers, etc. Where do you think the lack of confidence comes from?
I think a lot of it kind of comes from it. It's they feel maybe the world's moved on a little bit in terms of, where they are and how to kind of then articulate what they've actually done, and how all these skills, because, I kind of view it's like riding a bike, when you sort of learn to ride a bike, even if you then don't ride it for another 10 years, you still have got those skills. So it's about pulling all of that back out again from kind of, and I sort of say the work that I do on CVs and things, it's a bit of, yes, it's about creating the document, but it's also a confidence thing as well. Saying, actually, you know what, you've got more skills than you realise that you have. And it's, you can go out and be whoever you are or whoever you want to be. And that's so important for people. So it's, I think it's just, and I know I certainly went through it when I was thinking at late 2018 of what I could do, because it was, I'd been mom. That was what my life was, and I wanted to go back and do something, but I didn't know where. And that's why I sort of naturally ended up falling into what I did. And I'm so glad that I did. But it took me a while, and even now, sometimes my little imposter gremlin sits on my shoulder, and and you have to kind of go, no, I can do it, and you have to remind yourself of actually what you have achieved.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I was really interested that you're saying about it's about the skills and the things that they've done in the past. And you talked about having a superpower to, like, you talked about going into their stories, etc. How do you pull that information out? Because I think that's really relatable to the Class Business Awards. When people are applying for awards, they've got to pull all this information out. How do you go about, like, getting those goodies, those little gems?
Discovery calls with every client, and often it's as we're kind of talking through things, and I kind of creating a very much of a safe space, and often things will they'll suddenly say something or be like, talk me through what you've done, and it's a real way of kind of them being able to say, and suddenly somebody will say something, and because of everything that I've done both in HR and also in my business, I start really picking up of I suddenly spot, oh, hang on, you've just said this and things. But I think it's when I kind of work with clients as well, I sort of remind them almost having a bit of a sheet that they write down everything, their achievements and things, because it's amazing how much you forget what you've done. And actually, when you are then going to apply for awards, like yourselves, that it's really important to shout about it. This is your opportunity to say, I am great at what I do because of, doing it very much. So it's, there's no backup data. It's a bit fluffy. It doesn't tell us anything. Actually, what's really important is where actually it's about that data, and showing how much you've made a difference. So how many classes you've run, how many children you've had come through the class, what difference has it actually made? So getting those testimonials, talking about your customer service journey and all of those things, that's so important.
Aye, for sure. And that, I assume it's the same, obviously, when someone's building their CV and all the work that you're doing day to day. It's like looking at, what have you actually done? What impact have you had? The proof that you've actually done it when they're creating their application forms. And I'm interested, obviously, because you said you have a 10-year-old.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll be choosing secondary schools in September.
I'm going to rewind back then. So when you had a baby and a toddler, did you go to classes? Were you at local parent baby groups? And
yes, I did. I was the parent that went to quite a lot of them. So a lot of sort of franchise ones and stuff. And that's what really made me really exciting when I was approached to become a judge, because for me, I absolutely loved those classes that I went to, and the experience that we got. And it was very much around that, being made to feel very welcome and part of it. And you became sort of part of a wider family, and you got to know other parents, even if it wasn't, I went to one, sometimes where it was just me and my son. But actually we all got to know each other, and you kind of, swap phone numbers and all of those things. So it was very much of, because actually sometimes being a parent can be quite lonely. So actually it was my way of kind of making me get up to go out and do something. So
for sure. I would love to know, which ones did you go to?
Which ones did I not? So I did Joe Jingles, I did Baby and Toddler Sense, I did Tumble Tots, I did Creation Station, and I did Diddy Dance as well. So quite a big range of things.
It's so interesting you say that, because those are the brands that have been around for a long period of time. And I was just recording it on a vlog last week, saying if you look at the franchises that have been in the game for a long period of time, because it's a big game, like franchises, like a 10-year game plus, those are the types of brands that have longevity, and they're still serving clients right now. So it's so
absolutely. I mean, the classes I've done are still, yes, it might be somebody else holding the franchise now. Some of them are actually still the same people that were doing the franchise when I was there. So, and for a lot of them, I still follow them now, even on socials, and it's lovely to kind of see how they've kind of moved their businesses and stuff forward. So, it's always good. And I did a few sort of locally ones as well, but I was sort of very, quite often they were just sort of smaller scale ones.
Yeah, so. Independence. Yeah, independence. Yeah. And does your 10-year-old go to any after-school clubs or activities now?
Yes. Yes, I'm now taxi service. So he belongs to a music centre in Tamworth that he does. He does a choir on a Wednesday, and he also is currently doing Cubs as well at the moment. He did Beavers first, and then he's doing Cubs. So yeah, and then he's doing at the moment he's doing a future medics course. They're running like a 5-week session at school after school, so which is great. So he's getting to kind of do a bit of career stuff at the age of 10 and finding out about medical careers, which is amazing.
All right, so cool. And I mean, obviously, this is the thing. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to create the Class Business Awards, is to spotlight the impact that the class providers have on the community, on families, and obviously the local economy. And you've just said like all those things, like when you went to baby toddler classes, it was connection, it was meeting people. Now you're getting to the point where it's 10, it's like education stuff, it's like career pathways, it's like where they're going to lead. It's that whole bit that's I feel like it's just unsung, and people don't actually realise until they look back and go, actually, it was that one class that changed everything for my child.
Definitely. And it's also being aware of, it's about the visibility piece as well, actually for those classes. So, because you don't, at times it's really difficult to know what takes place, in your local area and stuff. And actually by doing, and taking part in, in something like, the Class Business, Business Awards, it's really important to, to be saying, look, I am here, I exist, this is what I've done, this is how I've made a difference to my local area and the parents and the children that operate. And often, it is then, people doing it year on year, actually they might have one child going through it and then they'll get another child through it and stuff.
Sure. So, no, that happens.
And even they might then kind of go, actually, I'd quite like to do that as well and take that class over or do something somewhere else. So again, that's how it kind of organically grows as well. So, which is always fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. That happens all the time. And obviously, you're one of our judges this year, so I'm so excited to have you on board as a class business judge. What appealed to you? What made you say yes? Because at the end of the day, it's a commitment to get involved in judging. It's not easy because there's like a time input that you have to do. So yeah, what apart from Emma saying you should do this, like what sparked your interest?
I think because of my experience of classes and stuff over the year, and actually it's really, actually singing that, what people have do and are doing on a day-to-day basis. I was really chuffed to be asked to come and be part of it and help people to really shout about what they can do through winning one of the awards as well. So and being able to kind of help to showcase what amazing things happen across the UK on a day-to-day basis.
And obviously, when all these applications come rolling in, what do you think you'll be looking for when you're judging? Because me and Emma were talking about this earlier, and we're saying everyone comes with different perspective because they've got different life experience, etc. What do you think you'll be looking for?
For me, it's about, does it tell a story? Does it say how, a bit of the backstory? Because we've all got a backstory. So does it kind of tell me that? But also then it's the, like I sort of talked earlier about, it's not just about, I can do this. It's, I can do this by showing the metrics, really showing actually how much you've made a difference. So, to how many children, how many parents, all those things that, the actual tangible bits, that's what I'm looking for as well, to kind of really say, yeah, this is absolutely what, this person really deserves it because of, and that's what I'm really looking for.
Oh, I think we're on the same lines, because I'm looking for the stories, because I believe, and it may be a bit bonkers, but I believe that a lot of the business issues that small business owners face every day in terms of marketing, sales, etc., can be overcome by sharing best practice and sharing, like, basically people shouting out like what they're doing, and people can go, "Ooh, that one little nugget I can implement into my business." So that's what I'm looking to build this year by spotlighting the nominees when they start coming in, and then interviewing all the finalists. That is that whole ripple effect that it will have across the UK, because someone will be like, "That's me, and I could take that and do that in my business." So yeah, I think we're on the same lines. It's the storytelling. But it's
in an ethical way as well, because it's not, you know, for the majority of people, and I would say probably more predominantly women, we don't like shouting about things. We're quite happy just to kind of tick, you know, and actually this is your opportunity to really say, absolutely, this is, you know, this is me, this is what I've done, this is the difference that I've made. You know, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, you'll win one of the awards, which would be amazing. So, you know, and even being a nominee, it's still a fabulous thing anyway. So to take part in it and really sort of showcase, you know, actually I can do this.
Yeah, for sure. And Kathryn, is there any awards that you have entered in your 7 years in business?
So I did I was a finalist in the Women Who Solopreneur Awards last year. I've just found out that I'm a finalist in the Best SME Awards. For a solopreneur under 7 years trading. So I'll find out in April if I've won the Gold Award for that. And I'm just waiting to hear about the Women Who Awards, which should be this weekend, hopefully in March. So so just, you know, but for me, it's taken a lot to do it, because I'm also very, you know, I don't like shout about things, but actually for me, it's, you know, it's my chance to say, no, actually, no, I can do it. And, you know, it's important to kind of also get that external recognition, not just from my clients as well, when they secure that role, but also from other people looking into my business and saying, yeah, your business is succeeding as well. So.
Well, that's really interesting. So what would you say to someone who is thinking like you, like, oh, I know I should be shouting about this, but they're scared to take the step and do it? What would you say?
Talk to Emma Hewitt. She's an amazing support for writing award entries and things. So if you're not sure on what to say, what to do, is to get that support, you know, from somebody like Emma to really, you know, really help to kind of unpick the things, because again, it's similar to what I do with clients with their CVs. It's about, you know, kind of really unpicking your business to say, actually, this is the message I want to get across.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kathryn. Like, it's great information, and I'm sure the audience listening will take lots out of that. If anyone would love to connect with Kathryn, because they may be thinking about their next step, we do get lots of people following us who are either teachers and they're not ready to take the leap. We have franchisors, franchisees, licensees, licensors, and independents. And some of them are probably thinking, like, what's my next step? Is it leadership or is it something else? Please do get in touch with Kathryn. I will put her details in with this video for everyone. And I can't wait to see the applications when they come in, and obviously you guys will go to work in terms of judging them all for us. And hopefully I will meet you. You will meet each other at the Class Business Breakfast on the 10th of October, so people can connect with you there. Thank you so much for your time, Kathryn. Yeah, brilliant. I loved having this conversation with you and finding out everything about what you do.
No problem. Thank you very much.